The what is it? Sour cream and sweet chili deli rock deli, whatever they are. My kids love them, and then I just eat them. So they've
Cool.
got to go.
The sour cream deli chips.
Yeah, sour
That'll
cream,
work.
chili. Yeah.
No. Yeah, nice. Such an odd night tonight. Erin, do you know what you're getting rid of tonight?
I really struggled. Yeah, I was like, there's nothing. I'm doing Coke though.
The drink Coke?
Yeah, yeah, well, yes, sorry, yes. Um,
Oh no,
yes.
I meant like, oh, we're doing so Erin's doing a drink, not the yeah. So anyway, that was yeah, that'll work. Manny, do you know what you're getting rid of?
Chocolate.
Disliking? Chocolate? Now we need to narrow it down. Milk, dark, white. Yeah, they're the three. Caramel.
Milk chocolate.
Yep, okay. Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, I never buy chocolate, but if it's there, I'll eat it, but I never buy anyway. Like it doesn't affect my world.
All right. Yeah, well, that's a good one then. That's
Yeah.
good.
Um, yeah, I'll be fine, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's all right. We'll see how you go. That'd be sad. Haley, do you know what you're doing, disliking tonight?
Yeah, dim sims.
Oh,
I
perfect.
always eat them at the kids' footy games because they're like there, and in my head the rationale I go, there's some vegetables in there, but I know that they're full of other shit. So I'm just gonna like put a stop to that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, have you got other ways to warm up at the footy games then?
Soup.
All right. That's got veggies in it, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, not if it's a cup of soup, they're cornflour gravy ones anyway. Cool. Courtney, do you know what you're disliking tonight?
Yeah, I found this really hard too, only because I have so many food restrictions with my autoimmune disease, so that like I eat very healthy. But I don't have it often. But every now and then I'll have a Coke. So that's mine as well.
You, you sure, Courtney, that you don't want to more dislike something that's on the naughty list that upsets your tummy, like what Karen's doing?
Well, I don't eat it. Anything that upsets my tummy, I don't eat it anyway.
You don't even crave it or want it or okay, cool. All right, that'll work. So, Rachel, is it still soft cheese?
I think so. I also am like struggling with this because I'm like, what if I go to France? But yeah, I don't think I need. I again also don't have it very much, but if there's a cheese board there, I don't need to eat that. So that'll be good.
Yeah, cool. It's so funny, you guys, all the different NLP groups have a different, like everyone, other groups have been like, yeah, Claire, help me get rid of it. And you guys are all like, oh, that's hilarious. I feel I lovingly, oh, Lucy?
Milk chocolate.
Okay. You sure? That's
Yeah.
your year 12. That's your year 12 anchor.
Yeah, no, I don't want it.
Okay.
And that was
I'm
only
with
one
you.
brand of chocolate, the year 12. It was a dark chocolate with nuts in, which I don't like anymore anyway.
All right. That works. Who have I forgotten? That feels like, well, because the numbers are off tonight. So, anyone? No? I'm more thorough than I give myself credit. Okay. So tonight what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about submodalities. So this goes back to your representational system. Talking about submodalities then introduces the framework around the like to dislike night. So we're going to go into a little bit of theory. Then I'll show you the process of the like to dislike. We will then work out what's the disliked, snails, snot, whatever that we're going to dislike. That'll be great conversation. I will then demo with Ray. Ray, it's still 12s, right?
Yes. But I don't want to
And
eat any chocolate, like any dairy milk chocolate.
you're going to be one of the other, like you want milk chocolate?
Should I do that? Because, I've also got like Aero bars in my freezer. I don't want to eat them either because it's chocolate, like it's dairy.
Completely up to you.
Yeah, maybe we'll do like dairy milk chocolate.
All right. I've got to, yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's perfect. And so I'll do the demo with Ray, and then I will pair everybody up. Somewhere in there, there'll be a break. I'll pair you all up, and then you're the coach and client for the night. So, yeah, so pretty straightforward, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so going to your manuals if you want them in front of you, and I'm just setting up so I can see everybody. Hands up, is anyone actually familiar, beyond Rick's training, has anyone heard of some modalities? No. Just going to skip that one. All right, so I've started off with a complicated slide. I'm not sure why this one's here. So remember within our rep systems, we had the visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and AD, the analytical, self-talk, different rep systems. Well, within the rep systems, it helps you, I actually really want to skip this slide because I've cut off the other part of this slideshow. So going over really briefly, thinking about the visual people. These are the people like Karen and I, talk from the top of our lungs, talk quite fast, gesture with the hands, tend to use words like look, watch, anything that describes the picture that's in our head. Then we've got the auditory people, and that's you, Rachel, isn't it? Yep. So the auditory people tend to breathe from the middle part of their chest. They use a medium type of rate in which they talk. They will tend to use words like hear, loud, sounds like, to describe the things that they're hearing. They will use their reps, they will use the eye cues to look towards their ears. Then we've got most of the group, the kinesthetics, the ones who breathe from the bottom of their lungs, talk at a slower rate, use fewer gestures, but will use words like feel, rough, gripping. They look to your, as you're looking at them, the bottom left. And sometimes they have a bit of a deeper voice, or they'll use pauses, or bringing this all back to the top of the memory. The AD people sometimes breathe from the lower abdomen, sometimes can be slow as they're collecting all of the data. They use words like understand, sensible, criteria, data. And opposite to the kinesthetics, they're going to look to the bottom right. So they're accessing, again, that data, that information. So now that we've got the rep systems at the very top, when we chunk down, and I'm thrilled that you guys know what that means now, going into the detail, we're going to look at the submodalities on how you actually break those rep systems into smaller pieces. When it comes to belief change, we're going to look at how you store and code your experiences. So people will have an experience outside of themselves within their electromagnetic field. This is where you store and code your experience. And that's what we're tapping into today with the submodalities. So thinking about the beliefs as we move towards the belief change, we all experience the world differently. Thinking about siblings, and there's plenty of different stories that we've all heard, but siblings that have been exposed to the exact same upbringing, just like my twins, are going to store and code their reality very, very differently. So as an example, one sibling may love the sight of cows, and yet another sibling may be completely scared of them. That's my dog Daisy, loved going up and saying hi to my grandparents' farm. But why is there that difference? Why do some people like it and some people don't? It comes back to the 5 senses that are giving you feedback and information about your inner and outer world. So the better you take notice of what you're seeing, hearing, feeling, this is how you're going to take on the experience of your reality. And therefore, somebody who's maybe more fearful, the sibling who's fearful of cows, may have seen one charge up and gave it a different meaning compared to the one who saw the cow charge up and went, "Ooh, what fun." So the five senses play a big role when it comes to shifting someone's belief. I had fun making this slide. So when it comes to the submodalities, if you think about the visual side of things, we can see color. And yet when we look at the exact same image in black and white, do you notice that your body responds differently to the dull experience in the black and white? Yeah. And again, so when we're talking about submodality work and shifting people's beliefs, anytime that the coach gets the client to make any shift to any part of their rep systems, the experience will be stored and coded differently and therefore change the meaning of their experience. I'm curious, when you see money like this in the black and white, dulled out a bit, how does your body respond? Anyone want to share?
It feels kind of like worthless, the black and white.
Yeah, that is a brilliant word for it, Hayley. Yeah, yeah. And then what does the color do for you?
That makes me happy.
So if we were doing any money, collapsing any money limitations, we would be making them black and white for Hayley, dulling it down to the limitations are worthless, and then we would be dialing up the color and the vividness of the money that she would want to attract in. Is that making sense? Thank you, Hayley, for speaking up. So changing somebody's submodalities is no different than changing like the old-fashioned TV, fine-tuning it. And so either dialing down the brightness, dialing up the sound, basically changing the way that you store the information and therefore the way that you hold on to that belief. Okay, page 73, if you want to read with me. So within each of the rep systems, there are a number of submodalities. These are the specific criteria which we attach to the modalities, like fine-tuning that television. Imagine you've just purchased a new TV and you switch it on. The image may be clear or out of focus. It may be black and white or color. It may be still image or moving. And there may be a sound or not. The sound may be loud or quiet. All of these characteristics are considered submodalities. So when we create images in our minds, we can fine-tune how we feel about them by changing these attributes. As you consciously change submodalities, you change your experience. It is not possible to change what actually happened. What you can change is how you code and store the memory in order to respond to it differently. As you know, the map is not the territory, meaning your interpretation of what happened and what really happened are two different things. Memories are made up of submodalities, and so changing the particular submodality of a memory gives you the choice to change how you respond to the memory. And therefore the past event itself, you can discharge the emotional trigger when you change somebody's submodalities in their memory. This also works to change desires, habits, and other thought patterns. It's a lot of theory, but is it making sense so far? The little fairy's my daughter, Lily.
Claire,
Yeah, Rachel.
so I might be jumping in a bit too early, but I've been thinking about this a bit because I've done like a kind of trauma healing thing where they use this technique. And I was wondering if this is like a trauma healing technique where it's like the traumatic memory, when someone is exposed to that in their life, they get triggered. So by recoding that memory, they're not then going to get triggered. Is that a similar thing?
Yeah, so in NLP prac, a lot of especially the early part of the training is the building blocks, and you're very, very, very switched on, Rachel, because some people will compartmentalize, right? And they'll say, this is the process, and then that's a different process. And what your mind is already doing is taking pieces of it and saying, oh, look, we can take that piece and use it for trauma. We can take that piece and use it for empowerment, right? And so that's exactly what happens within the submodality work. where if I'm working with a client who's got any trauma in their background, that's exactly what we're doing, is we're dulling down the intensity in which the memory is stored, and also making sure we also dial up the empowerment. So you are so switched on.
Yeah, really interesting.
Is it sort of following on from what you've already learnt there in that with that other course?
Oh, it wasn't a course. Oh, it kind of was, I guess, but it was more so just she did it on us. I was a recipient of it, so I wasn't really learning the process, but now I am, which is cool.
Yeah, woohoo!
I'm curious about it.
Yeah, so here we are using it for, changing dim sims to snails, but you can also use this for intense trauma. Later on down the track, I'm going to teach people the exact process that they use to resolve PTSD, which is a lot of that submodality work that you've already picked up on, Rachel. Any other questions? No? So before I go back to the slides, has everybody got a printed script? Because you absolutely need one in hand. It might look like this, or it might be the one in the manual. That was a yes from everyone. You're also quiet tonight.
I have the manual one. I tried to print mine. Sorry, I tried to print mine, but my printer's just printing out clear paper constantly. We got new cartridges, and it's just not bloody working. So I'm just going to go off that. But I've got it on my phone. I'm looking at it, and I've just written a like and dislike column on my. It'll be fine.
All right. Well, we'll make it work.
And I just saw the message on Facebook.
Yeah, but if the printer's not working, then the printer's not working. So
yeah, it was just blank paper. It's been, anyway, all good.
Anyone else got any issues? Well, not issues.
Mine on my screen, Claire. But I've got dual screen, so I can type.
All right, we'll see if you can. If you could press print while I'm doing the demo. Well,
I don't have
at
a
any
printer,
point.
sorry.
Okay. Well, you might need to grab a pen and paper, because you're going to have to work faster than you can type with this particular process.
Okay.
Yep. Do what Ray did and quickly draw one up. All right, so let's keep moving then. So when we're eliciting submodalities, you'll see that there is the list, and you'll get very familiar with this list with NLP. So when we elicit somebody's submodalities, this gives us a very clear understanding of how they've stored their experience, where they've coded it. So within that slide, you can see there that there's the black and white or color, near or far, bright or dim, the location around the body, how big is the picture. I'm going to go through that a little bit later, but you can see that it's very detailed in the way that somebody would manifest a picture in their mind. No, I'm not going to go over it later. I'm going to go over it now. So when it comes to the visual submodalities, if I asked you all to think of a pet that you like, cat, dog, lizard, whatever it is, and I just want you to notice that as you allow that picture to come up, in your mind, I just want you to think about the answers as I go through this. Is the picture of your pet black and white or color? Is the picture near or far? Is it bright or dim? The location of the picture, is it like left to the left, to the right, above, below, like where is it? And thinking about that pet of yours, what's the size of the picture? Is it the size of a postage stamp? Is it an IMAX theater? How big is that picture? When you think about your pet, are you looking through your own eyes so that you can see just like your pet looking back at you? Or are you someone who has got this image where you're in the picture with them? Is the picture focused or defocused? Changing or steady? So is there any movement to it? Is it framed or panoramic? Moving or still? And that's like a movie, like is the dog running? Like, yeah. If it is moving, how fast? Slow? I wouldn't ask the amount of contrast. I don't do that one. Some people will ask you what angle are you viewing the picture from? That one's not one of mine. Or the number of pictures. Again, that's not one of mine. when I went through that quite quickly, did you all get that experience of noticing how you're storing just that one thing? Should have chosen something more entertaining, but pets are usually quite cute.
What's framed mean, Claire?
Oh, I will get to that.
Okay.
I've got a perfect slide for that one. So associated took me months and months to get that to click in my head until I made this slide actually. Associated means that you're looking through your own eyes. And so when Rachel was talking about like working with submodalities with trauma or any other heavy duty toxic kind of stuff, if somebody's in the event associated looking at it, then that will feel quite intense. But when we ask them to disassociate so that they see themselves in the picture, their nervous system will actually reduce the intensity in which it's being stored. So this is quite important when we're moving towards more of the heavier topics. But this is also for the fun stuff, because if you're somebody who's manifesting in a lot of clients, a lot of money, then you want to make sure that you're associated into the picture so that you're experiencing it, right? Is this making sense with that slide? So the panoramic is just like you being at a movie concert or at the IMAX theatre, compared to being framed. It's quite strange that some people will store their pictures with a frame around it, or it'll just be small. It'll just have a definitive threshold where it stops. Make sense? Now we're moving to the auditory submodalities. Now, not many of you were strong on the auditory, so this may or may not be a sensory, I can't think of the word. But if you think about the sound of your pet, you know, the dog barking, the cat meowing, the lizard doing whatever lizards do, thinking back to a memory, I want you to notice from what location are you noticing that memory? And then also what direction. So is it moving towards you or moving away from you? Is the sound of I've got 3 dogs, I'm going with dogs in my head. Is the sound internal or external? So for me, the dogs barking are external. But if I was being back at kinder, being a dog on stage, then the memory may actually be internal. The sound may actually be me barking, so it can do both. Is the sound loud or soft?
Could you please
Fast or slow? Yeah, sorry, Manny?
internal, external? Could you please repeat that part?
Yeah. So when you think about your daughter and her laughing, and you think about that sound, Manny, where is that coming from?
Mm,
Everyone watches eye patterns. I would assume that it's external, that it's out, the memory of it is outside coming in.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, if we were working together to resolve an issue from the past, you may have stored the memory where you can hear yourself scream or something like that. So or you're on the roller coaster. It doesn't have to be heavy duty, and the sound is actually internally moving out. Does that make sense? It's a good question. And then we've got, is that sound, on the roller coaster, is it going fast or slow? The pitch high or low? I am shocking with auditory. Can't get it. I can still, I need coach for this. I still can't hold on to the difference between tonality and timbre, but I also can't hear the difference. So if you're an auditory person, tonality is the weight and the amplification, and the timbre is the quality and the distinctiveness. Auditory can also have pauses, cadence, duration. So the duration, a dog barking, is the duration long lasting? The postman's taking a long time, or is the duration just quick and sharp? He's barked because he just got bit. I have no idea. So is that sort of making sense with that one?
Is internal Claire sound, is that different to like self-talk?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. It is different.
Really just sound that's internal.
Yeah, that's more AD, so we'll definitely get to that. Yeah, good question. So yeah, on your rep system page, you'll see if it has timbre or tonality, and that's there if you want to use it. I kind of just skip those two sometimes. So this was a bit more of my slideshow to demonstrate that if somebody is working with a client who needs to reduce a stressful memory, like being yelled at, we can definitely use submodalities to really shrink down that sound, dull it down, make it ridiculous like Mickey Mouse. And therefore, especially if you're doing hypnosis-y stuff, that person won't be intimidating in their mind anymore. Pretty powerful. When you're working with clients and you're working towards their visions and their dreams and their goals, if it's something that they want the applause for, they want to be a keynote speaker, it's like, yes, get to that moment and just dial up the sound, dial up the order, dial up the applause, feeling yourself just really taking in that vibration of the sound. So you can use this for negative and positive. Any questions so far? Moving quite quickly to the kinesthetic. The kinesthetic, where's the long list? Nope, there isn't a long list for kinesthetic. The kinesthetic, when you think about your pet, your dog, your lizard, whatever you've got, not how does it feel outside of you, but thinking about the feeling. You kinesthetic people will get this. Where is that warm, yummy sensation in the body? What's the size of the feeling? Is it just teeny tiny? Is it gigantic? And is there any shape to that feeling? What's the intensity of that feeling? Is the feeling moving throughout your body? Is there any, or is it steady? Is there any duration, vibration? Is it hot or cold? That feeling, is there any weight to it? That one's pretty self-explanatory for the feeling people. So yeah, you touchy-feely people in the group, going to dial up those feelings that you want to experience. Where did the AD list go? Must be here somewhere. Oh, like to dislike, we hardly use it. It's coming in the belief change. So for Lilo, you sure you want to get rid of those hot chips?
I'm not sure at all. I'm regretting everything right now. Is it too late to change it to sultanas or something?
You can. I would change it. Or do you eat like sultana bread or anything?
No, no, I don't eat it at all. Not a chance. So maybe I'll stick to that. Because would it also affect if I eat like potatoes?
Only like maybe roast potatoes that resemble chips.
I love roast potatoes too. Yeah. So I might do sultanas.
All right. Yep. That's the safe one. All righty. Okay. So yeah, these are just quick suggestions. If you've got hot chips, you can change it to something gross like maggots. And if you're doing dim sims, you could change it to slugs. Savoys, again, this particular client could not stand, what is that, salami or something, and so we changed it to the way that she stored biscuits or Savoys. We changed it to something gross for her. Chocolate, the common one people go for is dog poo. Corn chips, you know, like a beetle, something that's got that hard shell, the crunch to it. So they're just quick suggestions. We're going to go over that together closer to the demo. But I also want you to all just to take a sort of that visual snapshot to recognize that Courtney, Sarah, Elise, Erin, Nicole, Manny, and Lily are very strong in their kinesthetic, which means that when you get to the particular part of the process where you've got to work with the feelings, the kinesthetic, these people will rely on that being stronger to make the shift. I'll go into more detail in a bit. And Lilo, Lucy, and Shell, all kinesthetic people. And then we've got Karen, Ray, and Haley as the visual people. So when I get to the visual part of the process with Ray, you'll notice that I really emphasize the picture because it's such a strong part of the way that she perceives the world. A beautiful Rachel, anyone who works with Rachel, you really want to focus on the sound. So it's page 75. And what I'm going to do, it's also called, in submodality world, it's also called mapping across. You're going to have your list of what you currently like and what you do not like. So that would be like snails in that particular scenario. You're going to have 2 lists playing out tonight. Since the slide is here, let's have a look at the quality. No, actually I won't. Sorry, I know I keep pendulum swinging, but I want to make sure I get this right. So when you think about choc chip cookies, snake lollies, chicken chips, sour chips, so on and so forth, they all have a particular quality. And you need to be able to find something that has a similar quality that is absolutely repulsive. And it's not, I wouldn't encourage doing like anything that's toxic, like the washing machine powder. It's better that something that you would actually maybe kind of have put in your mouth, like soap or conditioner or something you could do, but nothing that's quite poisonous. I wouldn't do petrol or anything. Any questions on that so far? No? Okay, I'm going to come back to that. So conversationally, before you get up to the process, you can start to actually create that food revulsion before you even have that client. If you've got a paying client and they're paying you money to be able to get rid of the cheese because they can't have it within their diet, then you want to make sure that you use all the tools in the toolkit. And so one of those is to pre-frame and really build up the revulsion before you even get to the process. And so you could really have a lot of fun with this by saying, you know, like if they were getting rid of cheese or milk, you know, the body doesn't really like animal milk. They pump the cows full of hormones and antibiotics to fatten them up and to fatten them up the baby calves. So all of this creates the chaos in the human body, increasing the mucus, and it can feel like it just goes down the back of your throat, you know, the way that your body's just repelling that moist liquid from that animal. And it really could just feel like snot just going down the back of your throat as you just start to imagine what it's like to go for that glass of, oh. So you can really, any questions on that one? So the very first steps, I'm going to go over them quite quickly before I go into the demo mode. First, you obviously need to get in rapport. You must identify the food or drink that you like, that you want to dislike. I've got chips here as the example. Then you need to identify the item that you dislike that has the same qualities. Like I've got maggots here. You must ask for permission. Is it okay for your unconscious mind dislike chips and to be consciously aware of it? Now, anyone who was working with Lilo tonight may actually get a bit of a buffer, brakes get put on, and that's where, okay, we've picked the wrong item, there's something else going on, so don't continue the process unless you get a yes. Does that make sense? This is huge with other processes down the track. I know this one seems a bit trivial, but that one's huge for later. Then you calibrate the desire for the liked item. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how totally Moorish do you like the idea of eating chips? And they'll give you a number. You write down that number. And the reason that we write down that number, the reason that you ask that is so that you can start to record the progress. So what have I written here on the slide? At the start of all NLP processes, it's important to ask the client on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of that is a problem for you? And what happens is you calibrate again at the end of the session so that you trigger off their convincing strategy that something has shifted. All we need is that number to come down 1 or 2. We don't need it to come down all the way down from a 10 to a 0 or a 1. We just want that number to shift to give that client the knowing that they have the power to make changes. What has happened here? My internet's doing weird stuff. Okay. I'm Okay, we'll try one more. Oh, yeah, okay. And so then this is when we think about the picture of chips. Have you got a picture? Or when you think about chips, do you have a picture? And you want the client to give you a yes, that yes, they've got a picture of chips wherever that picture may be. And then you're going to elicit the visual submodalities. I know that sounds like gobbledygook at this stage, but I'll go through it in more detail. So this means that you look at your script that you've got in front of you and you elicit the visual submodalities. So you've asked them, do you have a picture of the chips? And then you ask them very quickly, and you have to work quickly before their logical mind steps in. Is the picture black and white or color? Is it near or far? Is it bright or dim? Location of this around your body? You go through each and every word and you record their answer down one particular column. So you've got it and you need it. You need it so that it goes next to the dislike item. So it's written out deliberately. I'll go in more detail in a second. Then you go through the auditory. When you think of chips, are there any sounds that are important to that picture? And then you'll write that down. Then you move down. If they say yes, that there are sounds that are important, they can hear it frying in the air fryer or whatever it is, or they can hear the crunch, then you go through it. But sometimes people don't have auditory for food, so you skip it. Then you do the same for the kinesthetic. When you think of chips, where do you feel that in your body? And you elicit their submodalities of that. The auditory digital is very simple. What do you say to yourself when you think of chips? You'll often hear them say, yeah, yum. I know this is quite monotonous at this stage, but yeah, it'll all make sense when I get to the demo. So now that you've got the whole list of how they represent the hot chips or whatever they're currently liking, you break state. What's your phone number backwards? What's for breakfast tomorrow? Anything that switches from the process to something different. And again, I think I might have mentioned this with parts integration. This just gets the brain to shift from that emotional side to the logical. So you really are creating that shift so the slate is wiped clean. And you do the exact same process for the dislike. I'll go through this quite fast, but you go through think of the picture of the disliked item, the maggots, and then is it near or far, blah, blah, blah. You go right through the list until you get right to the bottom. Is there another? Okay. So then the next thing that you do with that is you will now have a list for the liked items and you'll have a list for the disliked items. Now, this is where it gets a little bit complicated, but what you need to do is you get the person to think about the chips and you want to get them to get that picture of the chips, watch the eye patterns, whatever their food is. And then what you do is you actually give the client directions to shift the submodalities. So if the chips are near, then you run through the list of the dislike. So if they were near, now move them far. Now, if the disliked item is now dial down the color, dial down, and you literally go through the dislike list so that everything that was previously maggots is now coded as chips. Is that making sense, or is like how are we with people? How are we with the clarity on this process?
You kind of lost me just then, Claire.
Yeah, always happens to that bit. That's why I've took the slideshow off.
I think I want to see it.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Yep. So before we go to beautiful Ray to do the demo, we need to have an idea on the dislike item. So dial up the fun, the ridiculousness. When Sarah wants to get rid of the choc chip cookies, does anyone have an idea on what represents hot chips that you would never want to, or that is revolting? Choc chip cookies, anyone? Sarah, did you have anything?
Yeah, well, I got like
a beetle or a prawn, because I absolutely detest prawn, and they can be like crunchy and hard.
All right.
Whereas,
like-
or the beetle, because that's crunchy too. So, but I'm more drawn to the prawn because it's terrible, prawns.
Okay.
So what would you suggest?
Yeah, if you can, I mean, I would just change it to a prawn cookie.
A prawn cookie, right? Okay.
But no, you could change it to prawn in the way that you've described it. Yeah, if it's sort of if your chocolate chip cookies are crunchy on the outside and mushy on the inside, then that would work.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the prawns.
Okay.
My dislike.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So Elise has snake lollies. Has anyone got any disgusting suggestions for snake lollies?
Worms?
Yeah, that's we think alike. That's where I was going
Or
with it.
maggots.
Or which one?
Maggots.
Maggots. Elise, what are you thinking?
Gross. I think I can work with a worm.
Would you put a worm? Would you eat a worm?
No, maggots grosses me out more though, so maybe I should go down that path.
Yeah, yeah. If that's what grosses you out more. Yeah. All right. Karen's got chicken chips. Has anyone got any ideas on what you would change chips to?
I was going to do chips and I was going to do cockroaches, so I think that's a good one for chips.
Lily's taking the cockroaches. You can
I
too,
thought
Karen.
about cockroaches too, but I'm also thinking about chicken feet.
Well,
chicken feet, cockroaches, lovely. Yep. Erin and Courtney have Coke. Anyone got any suggestions?
Blood.
Diarrhea.
Do like the water that you like after you like the leftover water in the toilet scrubbing brush. Little bowl.
How are you putting anything in your mouth right now, Lucy?
Lemon, so it's not evoking anything. Sorry, I didn't even realize I was doing it.
I was watching Back to the Future the other day and got up to the bit where Back to the Future #3 where Michael J. Fox kicked up the board and that spittoon of spit ended up on just dribbling down the guys. That would be what I would do, but I have a whole thing about spit. So, Erin and Courtney, you've got a selection. What would you like?
I don't know. I think they're all pretty gross. Maybe like the toilet brush water is not bad, actually.
Yeah, that'll work.
Ugh.
Courtney?
I was going to say the same, but I also have a really big thing about spit. Like if someone spat in front of me, I'd vomit.
Well, you could take. I mean, why on earth I was watching that bit. But yeah, if you want that bucket of spit. Oh, gross. Alrighty, so I'm going to come back to the chocolate. Haley and Dim Sims. Haley, I did snails. Where is your mind going to?
Well, I'm leaning towards slugs because I like steamed dim sims, and like if they were fried, I'd go with the snails.
Yeah.
You could do like brains.
Oh, yep, that would work probably.
With brains, like
Actually, that would work, I think. Yeah. Mm.
fried brains.
You late, Lily? Rachel, you still going with soft cheese? All right, anyone want to play with soft cheese?
Vomit.
Yeah.
Curdled milk.
Oh, that's been sitting in the fridge that turned its barrel off for a couple of days. Oh, Rachel, I can add to the list like chunks of snot and whatever else.
Yeah.
Us.
Okay. No, we'll stop there. I actually think slugs, but I wouldn't ever eat a slug. So does it have to be something that you kind of like might eat?
No, you just have to have the revolting factor.
Yeah, I hate slugs. Slugs are no. Slugs are no.
Lilo, are you still on the sultanas?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the sultanas.
Right. Well, then what's the fun? The fun bit is like, what are we disliking it to? Because they're already pretty gross.
Probably poop. Yeah.
Little poops.
Little poops. Yeah, like possum poop or something.
Hey, and so we've got chocolate for Lucy, Manny. Oh, and I'm getting confused with Sarah's chocolate chip cookies. So chocolate people? Any suggestions?
Dog poo.
Dog poo.
Baby poo.
Baby poo. Oh, yeah. You could go, yeah. Oh, and of course Ray with her chocolate. And we have a look at my list. You can do mud. You can do. Somebody came up with one suggestion last time, like sink gunk. You know, like if you're cleaning out gutters and yeah, mud.
I'm going with vomit. It's the only thing that is just sickens me. And there's the vomit that I'm thinking about has got a bit of mucusy shit in it too. And just the smell of it, like that's the only thing I just can't deal with. Can't deal with it. If I see someone vomit, I'll vomit.
I'll let you have it because you got the whole chunky factor. Oh, you're gonna hate me by the end of the night. Lucy and Manny?
I'm doing what was said before, dog poo.
All right. Manny?
Yeah, dog poo.
All right. Done. Alrighty. Okay, Ray, we're going to I'll just quickly check there's no other slides here. Anything else important to say? And then, of course, at the end, you want to calibrate. Hopefully I'll remember to do that. Okay, so Ray, are you ready? Now, as I go through this process, keep an eye on Ray's eye patterns and, yeah, sensory acuity just means keeping a fine eye on what's happening at her end. Alrighty, so.
Can I just say that the auditory part, I think I am struggling with that a bit. Like when you were going through it before, I'm like, I just can't. Anyway, we'll see when we get there how I am. It'll be interesting. But when you talk about the kinesthetic, when you asking those questions before, or the visual, it all sort of feels all right. But the auditory, I'm like, I just can't get it.
Yeah, no, you will. It's all good.
All right, go for it.
All right. So I'm just writing down what are the things that we're getting rid of. Okay, so I'm going to go right from the top, Ray. So just checking in, we need to identify the food or drink that you would like to dislike. I hear that we're going with chocolate.
Yep.
Then we've identified the dislike item that has a similar quality. We're going with the vomit.
Yep.
Is it okay for your unconscious mind for you to dislike chocolate?
Yep.
And for you to be consciously aware of it?
Yep.
I'm curious, Ray, when you think about chocolate, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being totally moreish, how much do you like chocolate?
10.
Okay. Bear with me, I've just realized I'm not charging my laptop. Okay. And so when you think about chocolate, do you have a picture?
Yep.
Okay. So can you quickly describe for me that picture?
Well, it's actually a 12 chocolate and it's wrapped up and I just can't, I'm unwrapping it.
Yeah, perfect. So you're unwrapping it? Perfect. Holding on to that picture, Ray, I want you to tell me, is that picture black and white or color?
Color.
Near or far?
Oh, far.
Bright or dim?
Bright.
And the location around your body, whereabouts is that? That's opening up chocolate.
Front left.
Front left?
Yep.
How big is that picture?
Oh, it's big.
It's big. Everyone use the words that your client uses. Don't change any of the wording. So Ray, when you think about that picture, is the picture just the chocolate, or are you in the picture?
No, it's just the chocolate.
So that means that Ray is associated. When you think of the chocolate, is it focused or defocused?
Focused.
Is there any movement to it?
No.
Is it still?
Yep.
3D or flat? Like a photo or 3D?
3D.
Framed or panoramic?
Framed.
Are there any sounds that are important to you when it comes to this chocolate?
No.
No sounds?
No.
Okay. So I don't do any of the sounds team. I just go to the next one, which is the kinesthetic. So Ray, when you think about chocolate, that Moorish chocolate, where do you feel it in your body?
Ooh, in my chest.
Oh, the chest. And the size of that feeling?
Smallish, actually. Small to medium.
Small to medium. And the shape of that feeling?
Round.
What about the intensity? How intense is that feeling?
Medium.
Medium. And
Yeah.
that the feeling of chocolate, is it moving or any movement or steady?
Ooh. I don't know.
That will leave it. Is there any vibration or pulse to that feeling?
No.
What about, is it hot or cold?
Hot.
That feeling. Is the weight, is it light or heavy?
Light.
And tell me, what do you say to yourself when you think of chocolate?
This is not good for me. This is
Okay.
bad, but fuck it.
Not good for me, but fuck it.
Yep. Fuck it, I'll eat it.
So Ray, what's your postcode backwards?
0713.
Oh, you did that so well. Okay. You did really well with that. So now what I want to do is go through this really short, sharp answers is all I need, Ray. I want you to think about vomit. Love it. Here on this Tuesday night.
Wait. Check it out. All right. Whew.
So when you think of vomit, do you have a picture?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. You've got that picture?
Yep.
Okay. So that picture there, Ray, is it black and white or color?
Color.
Is it near or far?
Yeah.
When you think of the picture of vomit, is it bright or dim?
Dim.
The location around your body when you think of vomit?
The same spot.
Same?
Left. Yeah, front left.
Okay. How big is the picture if you were to trace it with your fingers?
Where would that be?
Yeah, so maybe about A4.
Yep. Maybe bigger.
Yep. Yep. So what would you say?
Maybe
How big is the
A3.
picture?
Maybe A3.
Okay. When you think of that vomit, are you in the picture or is it just the vomit?
Just the vomit.
So again, that's just associated, everyone. That picture of vomit, is it focused or defocused?
No, it's focused.
Is it moving or still?
Still.
Is it 3D or flat?
Flat.
Okay. Framed or panoramic?
Framed.
And are there any sounds that are important about the vomit?
Any what?
sounds that are important about the vomit? Awesome.
A lot of it.
Okay, a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that location of the sound, where is that coming from or moving to all that?
Right.
Yep. And the direction?
That way.
Internal or external sound of that vomit?
Oh no, internal.
Yep, okay. Was
No.
internal to external? Is that what you're about to say?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Loud or soft?
Loud.
Fast or slow?
Slow.
Any weight to that sound?
Yeah. Yeah. Heavy.
Yeah, heavy.
Yeah.
And the duration of that sound?
Oh, long.
Anything else that's unique about that sound of vomit?
Kind of feel like it's coming out of my ears.
Okay, perfect. So where do you feel vomit in the body there, Ray?
Just here.
Yep, up the sternum, like just here?
Yep, yep.
Okay. So the location of that feeling, what would you say?
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Yep, okay. Size of that feeling?
Oh, it's good size. Yeah, it's big.
It's big?
Yeah.
The shape of that feeling?
Yeah, right. Oh, square.
The intensity of that feeling of vomit?
Intense.
The feeling, is there movement or steady?
Movement.
Any vibration or pulse to that feeling of vomit?
No.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Any weight? Is it hot or is it light or heavy?
Heavy.
I'm curious, what do you say to yourself when you think of vomit?
Oh. I'm gonna vomit.
Okay. And so do you know what the weather is tomorrow?
Nah. Cold.
Yeah, most likely. Yep. Yeah, like 12 degrees here where I am, so freezing. Cool, cool. All right, coaches, so keep an eye on what's about to happen. And it's a training moment, so I'll talk you through it before I do it. So I'm going to ask Ray to think of the picture of chocolate. And what I'm going to do is going to ask her to hold on to her original picture of chocolate. And then what I'm going to do is ask her to close her eyes and just list out the vomit submodalities. So did you notice how that when Ray had the picture of chocolate, that it was colorful, it was bright? Well, vomit was actually dim. So we're going to ask Ray to dial down the brightness of chocolate and make it dim. We're going to ask Ray to think of chocolate and make it flat. So we're going to ask her to get the qualities of chocolate to be just like the qualities of vomit. Is that making sense? Because you can imagine then, if we're going to help somebody shift a limiting belief, I'm not good enough, and to switch that off, then this is the exact same process. We're going to actually change how they store it in their mind so that it's no longer active. Ray, do you have any questions?
What if they're the same answers?
Good question. So that is where you you skip over those.
Okay.
So on my list, my writing is completely legible because you need to be short, sharp in the way that you work with the client, they cannot take the time towards, I don't know, Ray, you're kinesthetic. And then we got to the feelings, and then there were these big pauses. It was like,
Oh, wow. Yeah, interesting.
yeah. And I forgot to give the command like short, sharp answers. And so, yeah, it was like, but we really don't want the logical mind to get too involved in the response, again, especially when you're working on actual like limiting beliefs and things. So I do big asterisks when I'm going through it to say, yeah, there's a difference here, so that I can just do this next piece quite quickly. With the coaches in the room, is there any other questions before I go through it? No. Okay. So Ray, I just invite you to close your eyes, and I just want you to bring up that picture of chocolate. You know, that picture where it's quite colourful, quite colourful. You got that picture?
Mm-hmm.
And what I want you to do, Ray, is I want you to notice that that picture is quite colourful. And even though it's quite far, I want you to just dial down so it becomes dim. That chocolate becomes quite dim. What I want you to do then is I want you to notice that where previously that picture of chocolate was quite big, we're just going to down to an A3. And as we've got that in place, I want you to make that picture of chocolate quite flat. You got that?
Yep.
So now what I want you to do is I want you to say to yourself that, oh, there's a lot of it. Oh, and I want you to feel and sound and hear all of the things about chocolate just there in the throat, that sound of chocolate there in your throat. And it's just like that, oh, kind of direction, right? Where it's just that internal to external feeling of chocolate. There's that sound of chocolate that is quite loud, but also quite slow and heavy in the way that you store that picture of chocolate, that sound of chocolate. And it's just like that long coming out of your ears, out of the chocolate. And as it's there, it's just like, yep, it's just there in the chest, like right there in the sternum, right there. It's a really good size there, as it's quite square and intense, just making that that feeling of chocolate have that kind of movement to it while it's still hot and heavy. I just want you to notice that there's that voice in your head that says, oh my God, I'm going to vomit. And as your unconscious mind has got that, I just want it to lock it in place. And then coming back to the room, Ray.
I was here.
I can't believe
Feel
I'm
it
doing
straight
this
away.
with you on a Tuesday night. And so as you think of, I have no idea, thinking about the alphabet backwards, you know, there's a Z and the Y, and we question why on earth we're doing this. Yeah. So, Ray, I just want you to think about the idea of eating chocolate on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being totally boorish. Where is that now?
Probably at a 5. I'm good.
Good. What happens when I...
Nah. Nice. Nah, no interest. Nah.
Job. Any questions from anyone? Does anyone want to procrastinate and ask questions before I pair you up to do this ridiculous process?
Do you have to do it multiple times? Like, what's the score, I guess, we want to get people down to? So if Ray's at a 5, do we want to get them down to a 0? Are we satisfied with 5?
Yeah, with tonight, we're happy with a 5. If somebody was paying you to get rid of like a cheese allergy, craving for dairy, dietary reasons, yeah, I would get it down to about a 2 or a 3.
And how would you do that? Would you go again with the same dislike thing, or would you choose another dislike and like compound?
had to do it again actually, but I would do it with the exact same thing, but I would also maybe pivot to parts integration and then come back to it.
See, normally I'd be really jealous that you've got that in your mouth, and I would be like, after tonight, I'm going to go buy it, and I'm not.
Yeah, how are you feeling, Ray?
Yeah, it's interesting because I shrunk it straight away. The second you said, visualize it, make it dim, I made it small really quickly and just put it on just flat.
The flat was where you made
and
the
then it
big
already
change.
I already just started to get like a nausea, just a yucky thing in here. Interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, we could definitely, if you get paired up, you could definitely do it again to get that number down, or you could work with something different.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
With when you're going through the auditory memories or picture for auditory sounds section for the dislike, like, Ray, did it make a difference that Claire was using sounds in that section, like going ugh, like that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because it put me in, I know what I'm like when I vomit, so really put me in there. That was really
looked like you were gonna vomit.
Yeah, that was really, it was. And if she made the sounds like proper the way I kind of make it, I dry reach very easily. I was feeling sick. I was like in my head going, shut up.
It was a good question because I was only trying to use the sounds that Ray was using. So my memory is doing 100 things all at once, but it was like, what was that sound that she did? So yeah, I was using the similar sounds to what I remember her saying or making.
Yeah.
Cool.
What if they don't have like there was obviously a clear sound for Ray for the dislike, but what if there wasn't a sound for the dislike? You just leave that.
You just skip it. Yep. And Ray, you're quite visual, right? So the visual made a big difference. Yeah, I think everyone can relate to the uphurl of vomit. But like there was a real switch within Ray when we got to it being flat. There was something in it that already had, it's called a driver. It's already made such an impact that it's going to pull all the other submodalities over when we're mapping across. So at least the fine answer to your question is you would only actually ever have to do about 4 or 5 submodalities to get a change. But as practitioners, we go through all of them so that you have the full experience. Cool.
I feel like I'm off chocolate now as well, actually. That was brutal.
I'd like to do the hot chips too because they're really bad and they're really good. But if they're going to affect my roasted potatoes, are you sure it's going to affect the roasted potatoes, Claire?
No, it might not, but it's just
I'm not taking that risk either.
Yeah, I wouldn't take the risk.
Yeah, I'm not going to risk it because I do love my roast potatoes.
So, how many breakout rooms? We'll have a break, but I need to test everyone's help before I do that. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I can't do maths right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 6, is that right? 6-ish rooms? Thank you, Sarah. Maths person. Oh, I didn't want it to do that. Hold on 1 second. Oh, no. Okay. So, Leela, I'm curious, who haven't you worked with? Or who's someone new you're yet to work with?
Me, I haven't worked with Elise, Rachel.
Elise is done. Courtney, who are you yet to work with? Courtney?
I actually think I've only worked with Nicole.
Oh, so this is why we do this, because I don't want that to happen. So, all right, I'll go. That's done. Erin? Haley, who are you yet to work with?
So I've worked with Lilo and Sarah.
So, yep, working with Perrin. Lily, who are you yet to work with?
I've worked with Lilo and Elise. Is that right? I think so.
Yeah, so you're yet to work with Lucy.
Yep, no, haven't yet.
Manny, who are you yet to work with? Rachel, or Rachel, Ray, or Sarah?
Sarah.
Yep. Okay, and then Rachel and Ray, have you guys worked together? Oh, I love how that's worked out. Cool, cool. So Ray, do you know what you're going to find a different food, or you want to make that chocolate go down, or? Okay, stay with me, Ray, for a second. Everybody, if you want to come back at about 5 to 8-ish or 8-ish, I'm going to open the breakout room. So whenever you get there is when you all start to pair up, and you'll see me just come in to check that there's progress, answer any questions. Don't ask me what time, because I haven't got that in mind. Maybe 15-ish minutes each, maybe a little bit more. And then we'll come back and then move on to the next process. So yeah, so have a break, but Ray, stay with me. I'll see you all at about 8:05-ish. Ray, are you going to?
Oh, I didn't even think about it.
Is there any drinks that you want to get rid of, like
Coffee.
something? No, don't get rid of coffee as well. You'll hate me. You'll
I'm
have
already,
withdrawals.
no, I'm already trying. So normally I'll wake up and have a coffee, but for the last 2-3 months, I have my smoothie, and I'll try and only have that one coffee in the day because it's got to go.
Right, so you do want it gone?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And so with coffee, where is it? Milky coffee. We can do baby vomit. We can do puddle water. You could do off yogurt.
Baby vomit or off yogurt because I can't stand yogurt. Obviously, I mean, I can't have dairy, but yogurt, even if when I, used to have dairy, yogurt just furry in my mouth, just furry.
You want coffee to be furry?
Yeah, fuck it. Sorry. Yep, let's do it.
All right. So yeah, that's with Rachel. So
okay.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll see you back here about 8:05-ish, and or the breakout rooms are open for whoever wants to play. But yeah, cool.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That was good. Thank you.
Welcome.
Oh,
Right, is it working?
yeah, I was just in the room, but it just bumped me back out. So
Join Readers Read.
yeah, I'm not sure why.
No, that's okay. I don't know how to put you back into room 3. I just have to do a shuffle, so bear with me. Move through 1 and then move to, there we go. Is that now?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
That's all right.
Thanks.
That was a better
Sorry.
question.
Hello.
Hello. Any questions, or you don't need me?
Yeah, what was the
Yeah, so I think they just changed my dislike to like, because I remember they showed me some video, like it was a probably 15-20 minute video or something about Heineken, how they make it, how it tastes like. And within 2 hours, they shifted my thing. It
That's a
became
big shift.
my favorite beer.
Wow. Yeah, something going on there.
Yeah, so I'll be interesting to go there again and then see what
Yeah,
they
and look out for the anchors and stuff that they're doing to get you to like it.
Yeah, it just the whole taste thing was I can't believe I can still feel that taste after the session. Like when they gave me free beer, I just
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah. Cool. Does anyone want to share their experience? Anyone? There was a lot of laughter in the groups, and then you come into the big room and it's quiet.
They want to gross everyone out by talking about this again.
And that's what the purpose of tonight is.
covering, to be honest?
No,
Because
that was
Leela,
good.
you had a full-blown sensory experience though with sultanas.
Yeah, I think because I chose something that I already really didn't like. So it was on like a really low scale, and then it just, yeah. Oh, don't come near me.
You're like your whole body getting hot and everything.
Yeah, I'm still recovering. I don't feel good. I think I went to, yeah, visual and
Oh wow. That's a huge change. And yeah. Who was your coach again? Was that Elise? No, Courtney. Elise.
yeah,
How did you, and Elise, you didn't have the printout, so that you still made a big, it was easy?
Yeah, I just got into like the kinesiology part of it, or the kinesthetic part of it. And just, yeah, really, like, she gave some really solid feelings through the body and motion, and so I just like really went with that. I think that helped.
yeah, and it was when Elise said something I was describing of where I felt it, that's straight away when my stomach started to turn. She was like, and it's moving around in your stomach. And I was like, oh, yeah, I feel it. And that's when it was, yeah, game over.
Yay. Yeah, I get flashbacks because I had snails going down, liquefied pouring down my throat. It was like, oh.
What have you done it for, Claire? What did you
Pardon?
try? What was the food that you wanted to dislike?
Yeah, dim sims.
Oh,
Dim
yeah.
sims to snails, and yeah, and then whatever happened on the weekend, going food shopping with David and walk past the Twisties, and he's still like get me a bucket. Like, so it'll work really strongly if you want it to work strongly, that's for sure. How did you all feel? Oh, sorry.
Is this the kind of thing you could use for like smoking or vaping or that kind of association?
Yeah.
So can you do the exact same process for the turning dislike into like, or no? Yeah.
You can, if you wanted to bring back dim sims. I don't know why you would, but you bring back the dim sims and match it to, well, for me anyway, match it to something that I would normally eat, like carrot cake or something, like bring it back.
Question.
I'm ready for it.
Because we did coffee for me. Now, coffee, I only have one a day now, but if I don't have one, By the time I have it, like I get my whole body just shuts down. I get a headache and da da da. Is that all going to go as well?
No, that's why I was like, are you sure you want to do coffee? Because the withdrawals.
Okay, so yeah, all right. No, I'm going to be like, no, mind over matter. So you're saying that doesn't help, but with that, because that's what's
Well, the withdrawals aren't coffee. The withdrawals caffeine.
Ray, try having like a hot drink. So either like a hot cacao or a hot water or
herbal teas. I'll do a herbal tea.
Yeah. Because you might trick your brain.
All right. Thank you, Lucy.
And do you have it at the same time of a day?
No, it depends on when it starts. Like sometimes I need it at 11. Most of the time I need it at 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Oh, because then I was going to say just have whatever match the time with something else.
Right, you should write down what triggers you. There'll be a trigger.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I was just at a like shop where this guy sold a lot of like aromatherapy stuff. And we were talking about coffee withdrawals, and he said there's like a roll-on thing that's really good for withdrawals, but we didn't get I don't know why I did not get any of the details for it, but maybe Google like aromatherapy, headache, coffee withdrawal, roll-on.
Thank you.
Something
guys. Done. Thank you.
Otherwise, we'll just hypnotize you and turn off the withdrawals.
All right, that works too. Whatever's easier.
Anyone else got any questions about the process?
Can we do this?
You go, Manny.
Sorry. Can we do this process on ourselves, or it has to be done with the coach?
What do you think? Do you think, like, because you said you went into coaching mode, do you think you could?
Possibly, yeah.
When you know the foundations of what you're doing to your mind, yes, you definitely can. I don't know how you'd go. Yeah, I don't know how you'd go with reading it out to yourself, but now that you know how to get your mind to map across, I could do it easily, yes, but it would take a few goes.
Yeah. Thank you.
There's another question. Lucy, was that you or was that?
That was me. One of my questions was when you've done the like, you've done the dislike, and then you go into the mapping across section. I just didn't know if I was doing it right. Like, so I tried to write down what you said earlier. So you said bring that picture up of the thing you like, get them present. And then I couldn't remember how you did it. Did you just say, okay, I'll just give you 2 examples because I can't answer the question otherwise. So do you say it's gone from color to black and white? It's gone from, being far away to now close up, and you just keep repeating the characteristic change? Or do you need to keep bringing it back? So you say, okay, and I'm just going to use chips and cockroaches because that's what we just did with Lily. Do you do like, okay, now I want you to think of the chips again, and now I want you to think of the cockroaches, and I want you to take the chips from the colourful to the black and white like the cockroaches? Like, do you reference the like and dislike thing, or just keep it to the characteristics?
Yeah, so you can definitely, I don't know where you can definitely add your own style to it. So there's it's interesting how that's gone. You can definitely add your own style to it. So was it you, Elise, or Rachel? Somebody had a question where there wasn't many visuals. Who was that? Was that you, Elise?
Yeah, it was more that pretty much for every category of the visuals, they were the same across the liked and the disliked, the color, near.
Yeah, and what did you do?
Well, in the first part, I changed like from near and made it far, and from focus to defocus. So I just tried to made the association different.
Yep.
Like collapse that image a little bit. But I didn't focus on it very much. I went straight and more so into the kinesthetic because that was stronger.
Okay, so So specifically for, okay, there's 3 questions playing out. I thought it was something else when you were going to ask me. Oh, hey guys. So Elise, if you were getting closer to the hypnotherapy side of things and working with a client, and you noticed that you wanted distance from whatever, if you were working through, I have no idea, a phobia of spiders, you'd want to create some distance. So what you did for a different kind of process with a different intention is perfect, but it's not what we would do for this particular process. But obviously, Lilo had a wow of a time and you got great results. So, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like we haven't damaged Lilo. So I bring that up as an example to say there isn't one specific way. I do know some trainers will say, okay, so notice the picture of the cockroaches are close, and now I want you to send them out back, move them out far. You can do this process very dry. You do not need Claire's sugar high, funness. You can just list out the boring instructions. Okay, notice it's far, move it here. As long as you've got rapport and as long as the client is following, then the process will work. When I got to Ray, and obviously Ray was the demo, and she was like, what do I do, Claire? I didn't get to watch it. I was like, notice that there's soft cheese, Rachel, and now, Ray, all I need you to do is just to list out the dislike. Whatever the dislike was, just tell her to do whatever that was. So that will work too. Then the other one was, where has it gone? And so what I did with Ray was I actually hold on to the chocolate, and then I just skipped the ones that weren't different. So what I instructed Ray to do, going through the whole list with the picture of, it's gone out of my head, covered all the bases. Like there was no room for error with that one. Whereas the one that I did with Ray was a bit more next level. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Does that kind of answer that question, Lucy, even though it was a big convoluted answer?
Yeah, maybe I just repeat back just so I've understood. You can basically do it either way.
Yeah, and then when you get to masters level, you start to pick up on what is the driver, and you only do 4.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Because what we're doing, when you think of the picture, are going to go with it because it's there. If you go with the way that your mind has stored and coded Coca-Cola, it is going to be very unique compared to the twisties. And so where Elise had picked up with Lilo, there wasn't any visual. There's no visual there. There's nothing there for whatever it was, possum poo or whatever. For some reason, that's how it's been coded, like a computer program. It's now different. And I look like I had all of my food here to tease you all, but no one chose Oreos or twisties or so. And Sarah, school drop off, raced into Woolies, grabbed the carrot cake. I'm ready here to shit stir.
Oh, no way. Well, you can enjoy that with a cup of coffee. Thank you for doing that, though. I appreciate it.
And so just on the driving thing, Claire, again, Lily, I hope you don't mind, I'm just using your example, but with the cockroaches, one of the things that like I could see Lily literally had like a visceral reaction to was the I don't know, I can't remember how you articulated it, but that's how I remember it. But so would you as a coach kind of lean into that, because you could really, when you're starting to see that reaction that you want, you lean into that, because you kind of embellished it a bit with Ray, which I quite liked. Whereas I feel like maybe I fell into a bit more rational, like, let's just go through the list, but it's okay to sit on one and
because that's what take notice of the one that has the sensory demonstration. Take notice of their rep system, and that will be yeah, that'll be the driver. I'm not kinesthetic as much as I'm visual, but the kinesthetic of the slugs going down my throat, the feeling of that still with me. Whoever did the process must have driven that up. It is locked into my unconscious mind. So yeah, you look out for that visceral response.
Thank you.
No, that's all right. Any other questions? How did you all feel as being the coach?
I found it a challenge.
Yeah, tell me more, Karen.
It was not so much going through the like and dislike, but it was actually bringing it together at the end. So I, because there was a lot of similarities, so I didn't, I've struggled just to find the language of where to start with it, because visually they were actually both the same.
Yeah.
And the key difference was the auditory, which didn't have anything in the like, but had it in the dislike. So I think for me, I just, I got lost on where to start, and I got lost because I was probably trying to follow the process like too rigid. And I think I want to practice it. Like I want to practice finding the language around how to bring it up to the end, like how to have that full effect through to the end. I felt comfortable in the beginning, but I didn't feel comfortable in that end process.
Yeah, I can resonate with that. Did you look at my colourful script or the one in the manual?
No, your colourful.
Yeah, and see, that took a whole weekend to, not this last weekend, but that took a whole weekend of like, okay, what's the process? How can I map it out better for students? Because if you have a look at the one in the manual is just so written by such an AD person. There isn't any reminders to calibrate. There isn't any reminders to where to start, how to finish. And even my script says, okay, calibrate. Like it doesn't say, okay, well, that's it now. But that's where it's different in a session compared to teaching it, right? So it does take your own style to start, and it does take your own style to finish, to then check in and things.
Yeah. And I think that's it. For me, it's just finding the language to bring it together at the end. I just loved you were theatrical in the way you did it. And I guess that's, but it at the same time, I did, just because there were a lot of common things, and to what we were looking at, it had a lot of similarities. So I found it just a little difficult to bring that dislike into the like, I guess.
Can you backtrack in your mind and tell me, how did you start with the picture? What would you you were working with Hayley? What was the first line that you would have said to Hayley?
When I was bringing it, mapping it across?
No, like, I'm just checking with the very first piece with the visual picture.
Oh, okay.
Hayley, what did you? Oh, dim sims. Oh, Hayley. Right there with you.
It was dim sims and brains.
So what did you say to Hayley to get the picture, the very first picture?
I think it was what does if you were to picture this dim sim, steam dim sim, we made it specifically to steam dim sim, what would it look like in front of you? Is it in your hand? Is it in a plate? Yeah.
And did Hayley have an answer for that?
Yes, she did.
Okay. And so then so with the mapping across, the visuals were the same for steam dim sims and brains. So the visuals all had the same qualities. Is that what happened?
They were all the same, except for the size of the picture. So I did enlarge it. but everything else was actually all the same. It was only then bringing it to that auditory. So I feel like I probably just needed to get comfortable and find the language to really amplify it up more than.
Yeah, if you want to have fun with it, you can. It will still work. It will still work. If you're very dry with it, it'll still work. If the client follows the instructions.
Yeah, it just sort of threw me a bit, that's all, because there
It
was.
worked though. Like,
Yeah.
it still worked. I think that you like did a great job. Like, because I was still taken to that, all the sensory, you know, and
Feeling of it.
and I don't want to eat Tim Sims. Like, it's not. And I imagine next weekend when I go to the footy, like, I won't want them. So I think it worked.
What did it bring? What number did it come down to, Hayley?
I think I said I was at an 8 to start with, and it come down to like a 5.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant, Karen. First time doing this crazy process.
Yeah, I think, and we had a nice chat at the end of it. But I think for me, yeah, I just felt clunky through it. Like I didn't, it's just something that I definitely, yeah, want to practice a bit more. I'm going to just, try it out on my family.
So what are you doing on those Tuesday nights? Like,
yeah.
When it comes to okay, so we just mapped across 2 columns. And then when we get to the very, very thorough practitioner level of belief change, we go through 4. So we are going to be experts at this by the time we do the belief change. There is conversational belief change, there's hypnotic belief change. What we're looking at tonight is submodality belief change. So this is very thorough, very meticulous work in how somebody stores and codes a belief compared to a different type of belief change. So yeah, so the mapping across thing, you will get practice because we're going to be doing that again with the belief change with 4. You pick a belief that you want, you pick a belief that you don't want, and then we map those across so that we collapse the limiting belief and then install the really strong positive belief. So you will get very familiar with the submodality checklist. Any other questions or anything there?
Question?
Yeah, Manny.
So in this case where Karen was struggling because both the columns almost were similar, like can you take a pause after the step 13 and or does it doesn't have to be long pause, like is there any time frame or limit or
No, it's just a matter of asking a ridiculous question and then getting back on board with the process.
so I mean we can take a pause, just think about it and then
and then jump straight back into it. Having a look at the step 13. Yeah, so repeat for dislike. You wouldn't want anything more than 30 seconds. You wouldn't want to get into a deep conversation or anything.
And if we're working with a client, does client always they have to give us the dislike, or we can suggest something to them?
No,
like,
you can suggest something. And if you wanted to practice with it, now that you've had the experience, you can now play with it. Because I know some of the other students I've taught went and played with mushy peas, and so they wanted to dislike, let's just say, Savoys, and then they said, I hate and I'm disgusted by mushy peas. So Savoy biscuits and mushy peas, very different. It still worked. So it'll still work. But at this level, I wanted to make sure that you built the confidence in what you were doing before we got to experimental.
Okay.
But yeah, you can definitely, like, that's why I've got on that list. There's a list of suggestions. I'm in trainer's mode. I don't want to have to access my memory too much. So I've got that list there on that to say chocolate, dog poo, mud, sink gunk, Boston bun, moldy bread, Play-Doh, maggots. Here we go for crisps, like you guys who did the sour cream chips, the chicken smiths. You could have done skin scabs. I have done that, and it was very hard to. Yeah, gross. So yeah, the suggestions are there. Definitely, whatever gets the sensory experience. Any other questions?
I think it's also one that just comes with practice, but it's a bit hard to, obviously, like you're writing down and looking at the script, to focus on their eye patterns and, you know, body language and stuff. But like, obviously I'm hearing, you know, when there's a bit more of a reaction, but yeah, to actually like be a bit more in tune with the person whilst also kind of taking everything down, I found a little bit hard. But I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, and you learn shorthand. Did anyone already work out like shortcuts already from that one experience?
It's just messy.
Yeah, I don't even write the whole word. Mine is like C for color, black and white. So because I've done it enough times to just shorthand.
Yeah.
So no one would be able to read my client notes even if they wanted to.
Do you remember all those questions now off by heart, Claire? Like when you sit down with the client, you just in
Yes.
your head and you just flow and go?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that means you can look at them while you're just like writing down, or do you remember what you're writing down too? Like
Oh no. I don't have a memory
Okay,
like
good.
that. No.
But you remember the questions and you just go with that.
So what will happen, Ray, is I'm more interested in getting it right and writing down what you said than how they look. I'm not so much the sensory acuity. I take notice, you know, like because you had your gestures were here, and so I was definitely sort of taking notice of
That's
that when you answered in gestures. But when you were answering in, is it black and white or color? Is it near or far? Is it bright or dim? Is it associated or disassociated? Is it blah, blah? Like, yeah, no, I was just writing it down.
Okay.
Oh, Haley's got little ones going to bed. Oh. Is there any other questions? Lily's saying battery's going to die. That's all good, Lily. The weatherman up here said it was going to be 130k winds, and I was like, please let me get through tonight's training with the power on. So we did
We're
well.
the same as well. We actually had a power outage today because it's super windy up with us too. So I was in a bit of a panic.
Yeah, well, that's where I've trained, grabbed the laptop and trained from a hotel room. It was like, the show must go on. Otherwise, we'd end up doing it on a Sunday afternoon. So, cool. All right, well, there's no point introducing any other new topics at this late hour. So I'll love you and leave you, but please sort of take notice of how you are at the supermarket or this, you know, the restaurants or whatever this week. I'm really, really keen to hear, really keen to hear the feedback.
I'm going to try my chocolate chip cookies tomorrow and work by the kettle.
Can you record that, Sarah? Can you get on Faces?
Oh, I'll be interested.
Cool. And then yeah, I'll have a look at the schedule, but I think we're moving straight into a belief change, which is much the same. So yeah, I'll send you that script. It'll be different than what's in the manual. And yeah, and we'll play. Cool. All right. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. See ya. Bye.